If I had to recommend just one keyboard, this would be the one. It's the keyboard that I keep coming back to over and over, regardless of what I test. And after 5 long years of reviewing keyboards and becoming the keyboard lady, stepping away to make videos on Linux distros, servers, and TVs, I found myself locked back into a room again, trying to find the best keyboards of the year. I couldn't simply let my sharply honed keyboard senses dull after years of practice. But after touching and staring at keyboards for hours on end, they all felt the exact same as last year, but with a new gimmick thrown in, like a screen or some newly placed knob. Perhaps I was truly burnt out on keyboards. Had the years of repeatedly pressing keys fried my brain once and for all? No, that wasn't it. If anything, they were good, just derivative and boring. So I had an idea. Instead of putting all these mid keyboards together in some huge overdone list, I went ahead and simplified the video for you. I picked out my favorite keyboard of the year. Out of all the various boxes piled up around the office, this is the one I would recommend to my closest friends, because you too deserve the best and shouldn't feel sad, overwhelmed, and helpless like a wet kitten from the emotional turmoil of indecision. So let me walk you through my favorite keyboard of 2025. Let me preface this by saying my taste in keyboards have simplified now that I am a more mature lass and I'm slowly creeping deeper into my early 30s. I'm not looking for the next keyboard that just sounds 10% more creamy than the last, or anything that has the latest TMR or Hall effect switches or the newest doodads. Yeah, I say doodads now. If you're like me, you simply want something reliable, comfortable, that gets the job done, while also scratching that deep itch you only feel when you type on certain keyboards. Something that works on Mac, Windows, is relatively quiet and lets you work for long hours without wrist pain and doesn't require modding. That's where this keyboard comes in. The NuPhy Air75 V3, my top pick of the year. Now, I'm not gonna make an argument that it's one-size-fits-all sort of keyboard. There are plenty of you who would absolutely hate a keyboard like this. For example, if you like full-size keyboards or you need a numpad, trust me, this is not the keyboard for you. If you want something like that, go watch my video on best full-size keyboards over there somewhere. Or if you're on a tight budget and you want something that's at the peak price to value performance level, just get the Ally F75 or any other budget option on Amazon. They're pretty good nowadays. But otherwise, this is the keyboard I recommend to literally everyone else right now, whether it's family, friends, or other YouTubers who just want to know what keyboard to buy. So why the NuPhy Air75 V3 over any other keyboard? Well, there's a lot of reasons, but part of it is that honestly, it just works. Now that may seem like a low bar, but surprisingly, it's not. Most keyboards I've tested nowadays have on-off switches hidden absolutely everywhere, or they don't have them altogether. Then you have to find the magic formula of keyboard shortcuts just to get the thing to turn on. And if you want to switch between wired and 2.4G and Bluetooth, you get to go through the whole same song and dance again. This sort of stuff used to not bother me as much, but things have changed. I'm not a solo creator with endless amount of time. I'm busy running this channel with a team. And when I'm not doing that, I'm cooking dinner, taking my daughter places, being a mom. I just don't have time to mess with keyboard shortcuts. Every 2 minutes I spend trying to get my keyboard to work just feels like it's eating away at my day. And whatever time I have left, it's death by 1,000 cuts. All the little things add up, and suddenly you have to resort to eating chicken nuggets and mac and cheese for dinner because you ran out of time messing with your keyboard. But check this keyboard out. I want to turn this on. Boom, it's on. It's revolutionary. Now I want to switch it from wired to wireless. Boop. Okay, switching between Bluetooth and 2.4G does require a bit of combos, but it's still super easy. These are the things I'm looking for nowadays. Just make it easy to use. And I know what you're thinking. There are plenty of keyboards out there that have toggle switches. That can't be the only reason you like it, right? For the longest time, all I cared about was price to performance and that my keyboard sounded and felt better than the rest of the options. But now that I've been out of the space for a while, I definitely care less about those things. Sure, I still care about how it sounds and feels, but I don't hold that to be the end-all be-all. As lame as it sounds, I care more about how the keyboard makes me feel when I use it. If anything, I care about it making me feel nothing because it's not a problem. If you happen to be looking for keyboards at amazing prices any time of the year though, then you should absolutely visit today's sponsor, Jawa. If you don't know what Jawa is, imagine a discount budget-friendly marketplace like eBay, but geared specifically for tech, and without any of the sketchiness. Not only do they vet sellers, ensuring they're legitimate gamers rather than big box sellers flipping products on their website, but they also employ trained tech experts to do the vetting. Sure, they've got lots of cool things like custom-built gaming PCs, but for our purposes, they also have a whole load of cool mechanical keyboards. Not just the usual fare like Logitech keyboards, they also have tons of custom-built and niche mechanical keyboards from people everywhere. Look at this sick red Oni keyboard from Hayabusa. It's half the price you'd pay for it elsewhere, and it's literally never been used. And look at that, the seller has been manually verified and has a review history as well. In fact, even if something did go wrong, Jawa's comprehensive money-back guarantee means you return the item in full, no problem. The same goes in reverse. If you're selling cool gaming tech but are wary of the classic buying scams elsewhere, Jawa takes special care to ensure their sellers have the smoothest experience they possibly can. I couldn't even browse Jawa's keyboard section to write this without getting lured in. Now I'm just sitting here staring at this custom creamy keyboard someone built, dreaming of what could be if it were in my arms. Oh, the places I would go with its creamy... Wait, what are we talking about? Oh yeah, the week of Black Friday, November 22nd to December 2nd, Jawa is dropping epic deals every day, from $300 off select custom PCs to RTX 4080s for just $550. Check out Jawa daily to see what's featured. But it's not just that. This thing also elevates my day. You know that feeling when you finally sit down at your desk right before you start work for the day, and you're staring down at the pile of work you need to get done, but you're sort of excited to work on it because you get to type on your keyboard. Just me? What I like about the NuPhy Air75 V3 compared to the other options is that it feels playful, fun enough that you don't feel boring, but not so fun and colorful that you feel like an outcast in your office. Sure, there are some keyboards that look even more refined and come in all aluminum, like custom keyboards, or even pre-built options like the Crush 80. But I like the low profile design. It keeps it easy on the wrist, it's super portable if you want to throw it with you in your backpack, or sit with it somewhere else in the office because someone is talking too loud. The keyboard has a nice aluminum outer frame, and the keyboard itself feels heavier and more premium than you'd expect, but not so heavy that it becomes cumbersome to carry around with you in your backpack. The keycaps are all white with dark gray legends, but you also have the option to put these colored keys on it where you see fit. And I like the little cat key they included too. These little touches make it a lot of fun to use, and you can make it feel like it's your own. Now you're given a choice of knobs. When I first learned about this, I thought it was pretty silly because NuPhy lets you choose between a high profile knob, a low profile knob, or no knob if you want that extra key there instead. And you can add or remove it with this module on the top right. The whole process takes about 3 minutes. It felt like Lego, and I don't think it makes a huge difference either way. If it were up to me, I would have been happy if it just came with this specific knob already installed because I don't use the other options. I, for one, love the low profile knob. It's my favorite. I would say the high profile knob sucks in every single way. One accidental swing of the hand and suddenly the thing is on the floor. But once you made your knob choice, then you really get to turn this thing into the perfect little typing machine. I will say the lack of shine through keycaps does really suck. Now, I'm not doing much gaming at night nowadays, so it doesn't bother me that much, but I know a lot of people care about having illuminated legends, so that would have been nice to see. On the back, it has a shiny metal plate with a translucent plastic back. You can see the thick piece of silicone on the back too. This really helps with the sound and gives it a heavy weight. There are 2 kick-up feet with 2 settings, depending on your typing preferences, along with LED lights on the front that are customizable in the software. It also tells you the battery life. One downside I faced after using it so much is that the little rubber feet here isn't as strong as I'd like. In fact, it's already peeled off on both of these, and I don't even use that anymore. So all of these things make the keyboard functional, but also look pretty dang good across the board. Another thing I really like about the Air75 V3 is that it works great out of the box, and you can customize it to your preferences super easily. Now, mechanical keyboards are often known to be modular and customizable, but this one feels different. Sure, since it's low profile, it's not compatible with all the other mechanical switches out there, but that doesn't really matter to me as much. Nowadays, I'm not as excited by Franken switches or the best thocky/creamy switches because the switch options you can choose from are more than enough. For starters, everything is pre-lubed and you have plenty of great linear options to choose from already pre-installed. But what the NuPhy does differently is that you can get a switch called the blush switch, which is a silent switch. Yeah, you can order this keyboard with silent switches straight out of the box. Crazy. Crazy, right? For those of you who don't understand why this is a big deal, it was just last year that if you wanted silent switches in a keyboard, you had to buy the keyboard, buy the silent switches separately, then take the keycaps off, pop out the non-silent switches painstakingly, hand by hand, then put in the new switches, trying to not break it in the process, and then put your keycaps on in the right order. It was a tedious and expensive process to get a silent keyboard, but now it just comes to you already installed. It's glorious. And the silent switches themselves are different than I initially expected. Usually when you get silent switches, they're mushy, they're gross, like a cheap membrane keyboard. But the Air75 V3 blush switches feel satisfying and poppy to type on, while still being silent and fun to use. Sure, it's not the most silent, but it's silent enough. Wow, I love a creamy sounding keyboard from time to time. Those high-pitched noises really cut through the office and distract everyone. Even the noise cancellation doesn't cut it out. Sometimes a silent keyboard is just more practical, and having it come ready to use out of the box is the ultimate version of that. And another thing that makes it super practical is the battery life. While it lasts a decent amount of time without charging, it's nowhere near their advertised life of 1200 hours. It's more like a third of that. But keep in mind, I use it with the 2.4 gigahertz dongle. It's still pretty good, not something I'd complain about or even think about. There's another random thing I wouldn't complain about, and that's the customizability. The NuPhy IO software. It's a browser-based software that lets you choose the key placements all without downloading anything. Cheaper boards on Amazon, like the popular Owlet F75, have incredibly bad software that make it super hard to change all your keys, and it feels a little sketchy. But NuPhy IO is simple, it's easy to use. It makes customizing your board almost fun. Now, NuPhy is definitely not the first one to do this. Plenty of other keyboard companies already have VIA or some other form of browser software. But we want things to be more plug and play and lightweight. We don't have time to mess with other people's BS. I just like that the keyboard feels customizable, but only the things that are worth changing. Sure, the knob is a bit extra, but it's nice being able to put the keys wherever you want, especially on a 75% layout. But I'm a pretty simple person nowadays. I just want to make sure I have the delete key, the insert key, and maybe a few other easy access keys. I don't need much more other than that, especially not 15 different types of RGB. I don't even use RGB. In fact, I keep it off. So after using this thing for months and months now, for basically everything, and desperately wanting to go back to it whenever I test another keyboard, I can honestly say, just get this. Sure, there's other great keyboards out there, the Rainy75, the Keychron K2HE, the Epilmaker Galaxy 100, but those aren't really new options either, are they? The Rainy75 is over 2 years old now. Wow, I feel old now. Or maybe I just don't care enough anymore when I'm immediately repulsed by new keyboards that are just the same, but with a screen. Is that what being old and grouchy feels like? Or is this just what it means to prioritize what's important and ignoring the rest? I don't know. But what I do know is that this is my favorite keyboard of the year by far. And I think all this space from keyboards over the past year hasn't necessarily made me worse at reviewing keyboards. If anything, I feel like I understand it better from your perspective. Because having millions of options of the same thing to choose from is definitely overwhelming. And it's nice to have that option that stands above the rest. So get this, you'll be pretty happy.